Hello everybody, hope you're all well. Today's video is going to be my top 3 pregnancy books. Now, as a lot of you know, I'm currently 33 weeks pregnant and today is an extremely hot day, so I did make an effort to try and look presentable, but if I look like a sweaty mess, please don't judge, because all I want to do right now is take my clothes off and chew on some ice. But there we go. Now today, as the title will suggest, I'm going to talk to you about my top 3 favorite pregnancy books. Now, by no means I'm telling you that you have to go and read these books when you're pregnant. I know that a lot of people, once they get pregnant, they start reading a lot of books. Some take it to an extreme and they read like 10 or 12 books. Other people prefer not to read any book at all. It doesn't mean that if you read a book, you'll become a better parent than someone who doesn't choose to read a book. It's completely up to you what you want to do. I read a few, but these are my top 3 picks. I personally didn't want to read too many books because I find that, especially when you are becoming a first-time parent like I am, there is so much information that sometimes the more you read, the more overwhelming it becomes. The more information get into your head and the more you get confused. So I was really looking to read something that was A, to the point, B, comprehensive, and C, like quite straightforward. So these are my 3 top book picks. Now I'm gonna go through these books in the order that I've read them. The first book that I've read is this one, and this is by Kristen Hill, and it's the Pregnancy Guide. Now this book, as you would all have guessed, talks about everything pregnancy. So this book more or less goes everything that you need to know during pregnancy. It starts from the first trimester, then it moves on to the second trimester, the third trimester, to the actual labor itself, and also the different stages of labor. When do you actually reach the active stage of labor? And when you are in early labor, the different delivery options, like are you gonna home birth? Are you gonna go to a maternity unit? Are you gonna go to a hospital? About like midwife-led options or obstetrician-led options. This book goes through literally everything, and it's a really good book, especially if you live in the UK, because it's very much based on what's happening in the UK, whereas maybe in a different country is slightly different. It tells you what you are allowed to eat when pregnant, it's not recommended for you to eat when pregnant, what are the absolute must-haves and what things you should buy but they're not necessary, and also what things you don't need to buy, so don't even bother, and what exercises you should be doing, and what exercises to avoid and things like that. So I would say this is a general, overall, really good book for pregnancy, and for me it was of great value because, as I've said, this is my first baby, so I had no clue what was going on. So these explained everything, but in a very simple and comprehensive way, and that really helped a lot. So after finishing the Pregnancy Guide by Kristen Hill, I liked it so much that I bought this one, which is A Perfect Start. This is also by Kristen Hill, but her husband has also contributed in the writing of this book. So it also has the father's point of view, which I thought is quite interesting, because you know, sometimes us women are so engaged in what's going on with our body and how much our lifestyle and our life in general changes, that we forget about the husband's point of view. So it's good to have a reminder of that as well. So this book is a little bit, I would say this is all about pregnancy. This takes it to the next step. So it starts by telling you what kind of equipment you would want for when the baby arrives. Again, it goes through what is absolutely necessary to have, and also what items it's good to have but they're not necessary. It also has 2 very useful lists of what items you should have in your hospital bag and what items you should have in your baby's hospital bag. Obviously this list may change slightly depending on where you decide to give birth. So it will be different if you give birth at home, or it would be different if you know, give birth to a hospital, and you always need to check what the hospital provides. I think in my first trimester review video, I did mention that my husband and I chose to go privately for both our scans and the actual labor itself. So sometimes private hospitals do offer more items than public hospitals, but it has a really good list in here. It also talks about, a little bit about postpartum and the difficulties that you may encounter depending on whether you have a cesarean or if you have stitches down there and things like that. And then it also talks a little bit about meal preparations for when you go home, about some breastfeeding tips, and about swaddling, how to swaddle your baby, how to hold your baby, like basic stuff that I know that a lot of MCT classes cover anyway, but this I think goes a little bit more into detail. And then I think towards the end it talks about different options of childcare or different options of child support that you could have here in the UK. It also talks about a doula and some nursery options and things like that. So again, this one I found really useful. And then the third book I've read that I would strongly recommend if you are willing to read something whilst you're pregnant is the baby book How to Enjoy Year One by Rachel Wadilove. Now I think Rachel is a very famous midwife that a lot of celebrities and royal family and athletes and, you know, rich people hire her to help them out during the first months after delivery. And she has also worked for many years in various hospitals, and she has dealt with numerous children. And this book is a very hands-on book, and that's the reason I like it. So again, this book entails all the essentials that you need to have once you come back home from the hospital, but this also has a very hands-on and comprehensive plan of feeding, when to feed, how to feed, what hours you should feed your baby, and then it also has a sleeping plan, which I know it's not always easy to follow, and she said so herself that sometimes you will find it impossible to follow a plan, especially on very young children under 8 weeks of age. But the plan that she has seems like a very straightforward planning, and yeah, she gives quite good advice in all different scenarios and all different cases. It also talks about the most common illnesses that your baby maybe develop once you know it arrives home, and it just says to stay calm. Like, it covers everything from being jaundice to have colic, to have reflux, to have eye or ear irritations and infections and things like that. So it's good to know. Of course, the book always recommends that if you're worried, speak to your doctor or to your health visitor, but it mentions all the most common illnesses that you may come across when you have a newborn baby. And I know that again, for first-time parents, can be quite daunting and very stressful. And yeah, really like this book, to the point that I think that I might reread it at some point, because obviously, you know, there's so much information that you take in that you sometimes forget, but this is by far an incredibly well written book, and I would strongly recommend it. So that is everything from me, you guys. These were my top 3 book recommendations for pregnancy. These would also make ideal gifts to someone that, you know, they're expecting their baby. So yes, if you are by a bookstore or if you're browsing online and you're thinking of what gift to buy to someone, these may be a good gift option too. So that is everything for me. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, as always, please do give it a good old thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Thank you all very much for watching once again, and I'll see you all very soon with another video. Bye, you guys.